Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new Mooncraft for March 2021. So, it's been almost a year since lockdown. Or I guess it has been a year, almost to the day, it's been a year. Since things started locking down, we started losing people in horrific numbers. There was a lot of death. There was a lot of loss of connectedness. We weren't able to go out of our homes. We weren't able to connect with each other in the way we traditionally did. So today I want to talk to you about a story about spirit plates. A lot of cultures use spirit plates. This is the story of how the Lakota Nation came to learn to pray before the pipe. And after I tell you the story, I'm going to talk for a few minutes, and then I want to do an honoring ritual for everyone that we've lost this last year. Everyone we've lost from COVID, everyone we've lost from natural deaths, who we weren't able to be with, we weren't able to properly have a funeral for because of COVID restrictions. I feel like we need to, do some honoring for that. So there was way back in the beginning, there was a very harsh winter. There was a very harsh winter, and there was a small village of Lakota people. And they realized when winter hit, and they were so deep in the winter, that they were running out of food. They had not prepared enough. They did not have enough food. And so they went out hunting. They sent hunters out in every direction. And every day those hunters came back. And those hunters would come back empty-handed. They didn't have anything. No rabbits, no birds, no buffalo, no deer, no elk. They came back with nothing day after day. And day after day they went out in each of the directions. Day after day they came back again empty-handed. So they began to ration their food. And their bellies were getting very skinny. They were very hungry, but they could only eat the smallest amounts of food because they had to make it last. One day, a stranger appeared at the far end of camp. And they brought that stranger into the village, into the center of the village, into the chief's lodge. And the chief said, you are welcome here, visitor. And he directed the people, and they brought forth a small broadleaf of food. This broadleaf, and on it were small little portions. And they presented that to the stranger. And the chief said to the stranger, I hope that you don't think that we are not being generous. We have very little, and we are doing all we can to get by. But we will share with you what little we have. Please do not think we are not generous. And from that broadleaf, from that small parcel of food, the stranger picked little pieces off it, just little pinches of each food item. And he tore a piece of that broadleaf off, and he laid those small items of food, those small pinches of food, on that broadleaf. And he turned to the chief and he said, call from your young men, one of your warriors. Call from your young men, one of your most honorable men. Have him come here. So that a young man steps forth and is chosen. And the stranger hands that young man that broadleaf with those small parcels of food item. And he says, there is a hill on the north side of this camp. I want you to take these small food items. I want you to take this. And I want you to go up there, and I want you to face to the west. To the land of the departed, where the thunder beings come in, where this food comes from. And I want you to offer a prayer to the ancestors. And I want you to offer a prayer for all of those who have come and left before us. And so the young man goes up the hill. And he does what the stranger has said, and he comes back down. And they all have some food. They all have a little bit of food. And they all visit throughout the night. And as the evening is winding down, and all the men are departing, all the women are departing, they're all going back to their camps, they're tired. The chief turns to the stranger and he says, "You will stay in my lodge tonight. You will stay with me tonight." And the stranger thanks him. And the stranger says, "There is something that I would like to tell you before I go, because I will depart long before the camp wakes up. There is something I must tell you. There is a valley that I am describing to you. You know where it is." And he tells the chief, "Get up very early in the morning and go to this place, and you will find the food that you need to survive the winter." So as the chief is laying in bed, he thinks, we've been all over the place. We've been all over. We've even checked this valley. How is this person going to know? How is he going to know where the buffalo are? But in the Lakota culture, honesty is a big tenet. We believe people to speak their word. We believe that if you speak your word, that you mean it, and you will do the best of your ability to speak only in truth. So the chief, believing this, he goes to bed. And he wakes up the next morning. And true to his word, the stranger is gone. He's gone. There's no trace of him. And so the chief gathers his warriors, his best warriors, and he takes them to this valley that has been described, this place that has been foretold to him. And there they find a nursery herd of buffalo. It's enough to get them through the winter, and even more to reproduce, to populate another herd. And from that day on, that is where the spirit plate in the Lakota tradition has come to be. From that day on, every time we gather in ceremony, every time we gather, even as families, before we eat, we give spirit plates. We give honorings to the ancestors. So, with telling that story, the beginning of February, I was ordained as ministry. And since that time, I have felt very called to... Well, let me back up. I've been very in my head about a lot of things. Everything that's gone on the last year, the pandemic, the vaccines, the divide from politics, everything has kind of been running around up here. And I decided that, I shouldn't say I decided, I felt a need that I needed to find some way in order to honor all of the people who passed away from the last year and even beyond that. Last year a lot of people died in isolation. They died not having to have proper funeral rites, or even some of them weren't even claimed, and they were buried in mass paupers' graves. In places like New York where they couldn't house the bodies, they were just burying them on Pauper's Island. There were a lot of people who did not get proper funeral rites or really any dignity because of the pandemic. Also, we're in March, and March is the same month of 1962 when the Salem witch trials happened. Those women also didn't get a proper burial. So I've been really focused, and this energy of death has been weighing heavily on me. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about it and how I wanted to honor these deaths without with these improper burials, with these people who died so tragically that were not necessarily given a proper send-off. I originally wanted to build an effigy, like a puppet, and put a funeral shroud over it and do the whole pyre thing. And I bounced that idea off a couple people, and they did not care for that idea. So I sat long and hard with this, and I came up with a solution that I feel like everybody will be okay with. So I don't know if you remember from the Star Boy video, prayer ties. These are not the ones from above my door. I still have those there. I feel like I need to leave them a little bit longer. Maybe you decide you want to take yours down and renew them. That's totally up to you. But these prayer ties were specifically made and prayed over for all of the ancestors, for all of the people we've lost, for all of the people who have died in improper ways, who have not been properly buried. I'm sorry, I know my voice keeps cracking. I'm getting over laryngitis. I got a little bit of a stutter. It bothers me that I can hear it, but so all of these have been prayed over. They're for everyone who was ever unloved when they died. They were for everyone who was buried in a cemetery in a pauper's grave with no one to know exactly where they are or even what's happened to them. So I want to burn these in remembrance for those people, and I would like to play you a song. It's from one of my favorite artists. Her name is Karen Drucker. She is a minister, but she does very spiritually oriented songs. It's called "I'll Light a Candle." So as I light this fire that you're about to see, if you want to light a candle and join in with this, I think that would be wonderful. Oh, damn ads, hang on. There we go.
Though I don't know who you are, and when I think about your family, I will wish upon a star. And I pray that they'll find peace someday. I pray they'll make it through. I'll light a candle in your memory to honor you. Light a candle for America. May we feel.
I'm going to add these to the fire as a representation to release all of the spirits that have passed away
tears we cry. And I pray we'll bond together. And I pray that we'll pull through. I'll light a candle for America. candle for humanity, for the good that's yet to come, as we overlook our differences and join now as one. And I pray we'll come out stronger in this world I'm dreaming of, a light, a candle for humanity, to be a world living in love. And we will light the world with our love. Know that we can. We will light the world with our love. Every day, in every way, we will light. We will light the world with our love. I know that we can. I know that we will light. We will light the world with our love. A light, a candle for humanity, for all the good that's yet to come, as we overlook our differences and join now as one. And I pray we'll come out stronger in this world I'm dreaming of, a light, a candle for humanity, to be a world that's living in love. A light, a candle. A light, a candle. A light, a candle.
So thank you everyone for coming. I'm just going to send us out with a quick prayer after burning these prayer ties. Wankan Tonka Tankashila, Great Spirit, Grandfather, Grandmother, Mother, Father. I pray to you to bless every one of the people who have watched this video today. And I pray to you and ask that you bless and take care of all of the ancestors who have passed before us. I ask that you hold us all in sacred light and provide everything we need, and help us to realize that we are all connected, we're all one. I hope you guide us back to our hearts. We spend too much time in the mind, Grandfather. Guide us back to our hearts. Remind us that our heartbeats all beat as one. Aho Mitakuyo Yasi.